A balanced diet, avoiding sweets, a simple longevity secret now tinged with sadness. When Dr. Li Fu Ren passed away, many wept not only because a master of traditional Chinese medicine had left this world, but because a way of living, so humble and mindful, seemed to have quietly departed with him. At 105 years old, with over 80 years of medical experience, he left behind not just knowledge, but a profound message. True health begins with how we eat. Throughout his life, food was never a burden on his body. It's hard to believe that someone so old, so respected and constantly busy, lived such a long and vibrant life not thanks to expensive supplements or trendy superfoods, but because of simple, balanced meals made with intention. "I never eat until I'm full, just a little of each thing is enough," he told Health Times back in 2011. Today, with his absence, those words echo like a quiet, heartfelt reminder. He cut out sugary foods almost entirely, avoided greasy dishes, and chose vegetables and fruits as his everyday companions. His meals were modest, far from lavish, but they reflected a deep respect for health, something many of us overlook in the rush of modern life. What's even more heartbreaking is the realization that his health, so strong and clear-headed even in his 90s, came from nothing magical. Just the choice to avoid sweets helped him steer clear of chronic illnesses like diabetes and hypertension, conditions that are so common at his age, yet never found a place in his life. While others fought disease with pills and clinics, he relied on discipline and awareness. In a world now flooded with nutritional advice and miracle cures, his message causes us to pause. Could it be that simplicity, not complexity, is the real secret to a long life? It's painful to think that although his advice was simple enough for anyone to follow, not many of us have the patience or commitment to live like he did. Looking back on his life, from a young boy born into a family of herbalists to becoming a national master of medicine, it's clear that his health wasn't just luck. It was the result of decades of mindful eating and quiet self-care. He's gone now. The image of the silver-haired doctor with his slim frame, clear eyes, and strong voice is no longer with us. All that remains is his legacy, the spirit of a lifestyle where food isn't just about filling the stomach, but about nourishing the body gently, every day. And with that comes a quiet sorrow, the regret that although we know better, we often choose convenience over care. Today, as people remember him, they won't just think of his medical brilliance, but of those simple meals, of his deep appreciation for every bite of food. That is the most beautiful image of a man who spent his life healing not just others, but himself through the simplest, most accessible way. A balanced, humble diet. In the early days of October 2024, when the news broke that Master Physician Li Funian had passed away, many people fell into silence, as if they had lost a beloved family member. At the age of 105, he was not only a legend in traditional Chinese medicine but also a living example of a gentle, disciplined, and meaningful way of life. One of the most touching aspects of his longevity was how he maintained balance between work and rest. Something seemingly simple, yet profoundly powerful in preserving health. In an era where people race against time, he chose to live by his own rhythm, slow but full of strength. Despite a busy schedule and advanced age, he was consistent in getting 7 hours of sleep every night and taking a 1-hour nap each day. Those who visited Beijing Hospital were often surprised to see a man in his 90s still going to work regularly, consulting patients with a clear voice and sharp eyes that showed no signs of aging fatigue. He once said that one must keep working and stay active in order to maintain vitality. But what many failed to realize is that behind his tireless work ethic was a strict personal rule: sleep on time and rest properly. For him, sleep was not just a physical need but a way to restore the spirit, renew energy, and keep the mind sharp. He believed that maintaining regular sleep habits helped him endure the pressures of work, overcome sadness, and get through life's challenges without leaving emotional scars. Now that he is gone, the image of a quiet, elderly doctor reading in the early morning and resting at midday comes flooding back, vivid and haunting. There is something deeply empty about imagining that the small office at Beijing Hospital, once filled with the sound of turning pages, now sits in silence. He never chased trendy sleep hacks or promoted working day and night for success. For him, working was a way to serve, but resting was a way to preserve the body and soul. Balancing the two, he believed, is the only path to real health and longevity. Sometimes people assume he lived long because of good genes or luck, but the truth was much simpler. He went to bed on time, avoided staying up late, and didn't let stress keep him awake. Day by day, year by year, decade after decade, this habit carried him peacefully through more than a century of life, free from illness and exhaustion. The saddest realization is that such simple habits like a full night's sleep are often what we take most for granted. We wear ourselves down for work, for worry, for ambitions not yet fulfilled, only to seek restful sleep too late, after sickness has already arrived. Master physician Li Funian lived a life without waste because he knew when to pause and how to rest. Perhaps among all the legacies he left behind, his balance between doing and resting, between alertness and relaxation, is the lesson we need most today yet find the hardest to hold on to. When news spread that Dr. Li Furan had passed away, people did not only mourn the loss of a legendary traditional medicine master, but also grieved the quiet end of a humble routine that once defined his vibrant longevity. No longer would anyone see that gentle figure walking slowly yet purposefully through the courtyards of Beijing Hospital, his frame thin but his energy steady. A man who walked his way through more than a century of life, not just surviving but thriving, serving and inspiring. To him, movement was never a chore nor a target to reach. It was simply a part of his existence, as natural as breathing. He didn't rely on gyms or fancy equipment. Instead, he chose to stay active through everyday tasks, doing housework, climbing stairs, and taking walks. He once told the Journal of Traditional Chinese Medicine in 2009 that tonic supplements could never replace physical activity. That sentence now echoes like a final message, a quiet whisper urging us not to forget. Even on chilly mornings, he could be seen walking calmly through the hospital halls, his back slightly bent, yet every step firm, his eyes alert, reflecting the peace within. It was hard to believe he was in his 90s and later even past 100. He never needed assistance, never used a wheelchair. It was the result of years of consistent movement. Now that he is gone, the staircases he used to climb each day feel strangely empty. The railings once gently held by his hand, the steps once touched by his careful feet, now sit in silence, carrying only memories. That sense of absence isn't just about age. It is the end of a time when exercise meant honoring your body, not chasing trends or perfection. He once explained that physical activity helps blood flow, sharpens the mind, and most importantly reconnects us with our own bodies. Through movement we listen to our heartbeat, feel our breath, and discover both the limits and the potential of our being. He didn't treat movement as a workout but lived it in every gesture, from folding his blanket to brewing tea and strolling in the yard. Today those memories bring a quiet sorrow. We live in an age of comfort, yet we give so little time to true movement. We chase deadlines, scroll through screens, and burden ourselves with invisible pressure while our bodies weaken and our spirits tire. His passing feels like a soft but powerful warning. Our bodies need care through action, not just medication or plans. No supplement can replace an active lifestyle, and no miracle can substitute a daily habit of simple movement. Dr. Li Furan proved that through his own journey. And now that he rests, we must hold on even more tightly to the simple yet profound lesson he left behind. If we want to live long, we must first be willing to take one small step at a time each day, with patience and a deep respect for life itself. Perhaps what saddens people the most when speaking of Master Physician Li Furan is not only his extraordinary longevity but also the serene soul he carried throughout his life. In a world full of hustle-bustle, worries, and relentless pressure, he was like a quiet note, living calmly amidst chaos, gentle yet profound. And now that he has forever left us, that calmness feels like a flame just extinguished, leaving behind an invisible void in the hearts of those who once admired him. His entire life was proof of the power of inner peace. Not everyone who lives long lives well, lives joyfully, or lives lightly as he did. Despite going through countless ups and downs in both his career and personal life, he never let anger or sorrow take hold of his mind for too long. He once said that holding on to negativity is like drinking poison and hoping others would die. But these days, how many people still have the strength to let go, to forgive, to smile in the face of adversity? Now that he is no longer here, his advice to live kindly and do good echoes in the silence. Those who were once treated by him, those students who sat listening to his teachings, are now choked with emotion when recalling his gentle eyes and calm voice carried through every word. They say just sitting near him, hearing him talk, would bring peace to their hearts. Not because he preached grand ideas, but because he lived exactly as he advised others to live. He once said that when the mind is at peace, the body will follow, that someone who constantly worries cannot be saved even by miracle medicine. These words resonate even more deeply now as the world becomes increasingly stressful, people more easily angered, more often lonely, more prone to despair. When he was alive, he was a symbol of serenity. Now that he is gone, people are realizing perhaps his health and longevity came not just from food or exercise, but from that unburdened heart and gentle soul. People often think longevity requires rare medicine, skilled doctors, or financial comfort. But through his simple lifestyle, he proved that the most valuable thing lies in how we face life. A person may not have much, but if they know contentment, compassion, and how to let go, they may truly live. Now there is no one left to remind us to slow down, to forgive more, to think lightly when things do not go our way. No longer will we see him reading by the window or quietly making tea on an autumn afternoon. Yet in the minds of those who knew of him, that kind smile still remains like a final gentle reminder. Life will continue spinning as always after his passing. But if someone pauses, closes their eyes, and listens to their own breath, maybe they will feel a bit of the peace he once lived with. And that perhaps is his final gift, the quiet legacy he left behind for the world. In the final years of his life, when looking back on his journey, the renowned physician Lai Fu Nan left people deeply moved by the simple yet profound things he once shared. One of those was the philosophy that a healthy life begins with a clean gut and a strong body. While that might sound like common health advice to some, for him it was a path of discipline, a lifestyle he upheld faithfully throughout more than a century of living. Lai Fu Nan did not rely on expensive treatments or flashy supplements. Instead, he gently emphasized the importance of eating high-fiber foods, vegetables, fruits, whole grains, and practicing daily abdominal massage in a clockwise motion. These things may seem small, but they were the very foundation of wellness he built and nurtured through decades of observation and living. Now that he is no longer with us, his teachings feel like the last dewdrops falling quietly onto the earth, sinking deeply into the hearts of those who remember. His image remains vivid: an elderly man over 100 years old, still calmly appearing on television, softly massaging his abdomen, and speaking slowly about the importance of digestive health. He once said that a healthy body starts from the inside out, that illness does not just come from outside, but from what we put into ourselves every day. In an era where people are always rushing, eating irregularly, and neglecting their health in pursuit of work and status, his words now echo like a quiet, melancholy chord. Perhaps not everyone listened while he was alive, but now in his absence many are beginning to recall those humble talks, those seemingly simple lessons that were in fact the distilled wisdom of a long and mindful life. Some used to ask how a man could live to 105 without chronic illness, and he would just smile and say, start by eating on time, eating just enough, and keeping your belly light. It wasn't about special pills or rare herbs, it was about listening to your body every single day. Now those teachings are a bittersweet legacy, sad because the teacher is gone, sadder still because so few people have the patience to slow down and live mindfully. He was not just a physician but a dedicated mentor who passed on precious lessons to the next generations. But time waits for no one, and as his journey came to a close, those lessons too seemed to fade in the hurried memory of a society growing colder and more distracted, who still remembers the sight of him quietly stepping into his garden each morning, breathing in fresh air, eating a simple breakfast, and gently massaging his belly to begin the day. Now the room where he once read books and carefully documented health recipes and self-care routines has fallen silent. No one remains to remind us to care for our gut daily, to live healthily through even the smallest habits. His passing is not only a loss to medicine but a loss of a gentle voice, a compassionate heart that always wished for others to live well and happily. That legacy will live on, but the voice has gone silent, and for those who once heard him speak or saw that kind and steady gaze, there will always be a lump in the throat remembering his modest yet loving reminder: live gently, keep your belly clean, your heart calm, and your spirit kind, because that is not just how to live long, it is how to live fully as he once did. The life of renowned physician Lai Fu Nan was not only a journey of healing but a quiet symphony of love, wisdom, and dedication to community well-being. From a young age, he stepped into the path of Eastern medicine, following the tradition of his family, not just to treat illness but to share meaningful values with the world. For over 80 years, he left behind not just prescriptions but heartfelt lessons and a legacy of compassion. He lived fully with his ideal, a life of simplicity, humility, and deep insight. His secrets to longevity seemed simple at first glance: eat moderately, sleep on time, stay active daily, keep the mind calm, and care for digestion. But within those habits was a lifelong discipline and patience that only someone truly dedicated could maintain. Each practice reflected years of experience and a profound understanding of the human body. He never sought out expensive treatments or followed flashy health trends. He believed that health comes from the simplest things: from a light meal that never left him full, from sleeping early and rising with the sun, from walking and climbing stairs each day, to letting go of stress and emotional burdens. He lived like a leaf drifting peacefully in the breeze, unattached, light-hearted, and free from worry. And it was that lightness that carried him past 100 years with clarity, joy, and no sign of disease. Now that he has forever left this world, his teachings shine brighter than ever. People often only recognize the true worth of a treasure once it is gone. And Lai Fu Nan was a living treasure, a quiet, gentle soul who now lives on in memory as a voice from a time when simplicity was still considered sacred. We can learn so much from him: not only how to stay healthy but how to live with kindness, grace, and gratitude. As he often said, health is not something distant or magical, it is built through the choices we make every single day. A peaceful meal, deep sleep, calm spirit, and a healthy gut, those are the real foundations for a long and meaningful life. His passing leaves behind a deep sense of loss, but also serves as a reminder that we must love ourselves more, listen to our bodies more, and take care of our health through small daily choices. If these lessons are passed on, they will continue to inspire and guide generations to come. If this story touched your heart, please take a moment to subscribe to our channel Golden Wellbeing, where we share more insights and wisdom on how to live a healthy, joyful life from around the world. And if you found this message meaningful, please share it with your family and friends so more people can be inspired and empowered to live better each day. Life may be short, but with love, good habits, and a peaceful heart, each day can be full of meaning. Let us walk together on the path Lai Fu Nan once walked, to live not only longer but stronger, calmer, and more fulfilled.